So, how far can a classic Mini actually go into the desert? There's basically only one way of finding that out, and that would be drive all the way into the heart of the desert. And not just any desert, the Sahara Desert. Before I go any further, I'd like to apologize to every single viewer of mine out there who has been expecting an update from my channel much sooner than what I've actually managed to do. Truth be told, this trip, this entire experience has been so overwhelming, so intense, so revitalizing, so absolutely out of this world that it took me over a month and a half just to collect my thoughts and my memories and my experiences, put things in order so that I'm able to actually share the story with each and every one of you. It's an undisputed reality of a trip, any trip basically, that there's so much stuff happening on a daily basis, every single minute, every single hour, that it's just too much to take in and process while it's happening. When you're traveling, when you're pushing your limits outside of your comfort zone, when you bring yourself in a scenario and a situation and a country and a place that's completely out of your world, completely out of your comfort zone, it's too much to handle at times. The best you can do is turn yourself into a huge mental, emotional, and sentimental sponge. You just suck stuff in, and you're only really able to process and share everything once you're out of there. So now that the dust has actually settled, literally, here comes the first episode of my experience in Tunisia, in the heart of the Sahara Desert in the south of the country. So there I was, all hyped up and excited on my first day in Tunisia, rushing to make my first actual appointment with the Queen, an African Queen, at the shipyard of Port-au-Prince in Monastir, Tunisia. And that was going to be my home for my stay over the next 3 weeks in Tunisia. Though a shipyard is the last place you would expect to meet an actual queen from Africa, there she was. A 1966 old steel schooner that was in a bit of a rough shape, but that was exactly the reason why I was there, to do my first workaway experience in Tunisia and rough it out. Now this was the perfect project for me to put all my skills and craftsmanship to good work because it was stuff I was already very well versed and acquainted with. Though it took me a couple of days to find my footing and realize where all the tools were and the materials and stuff, the moment I got comfortable, I went haywire all over the boat. Though hard, it was great work. What I loved about this project was the fact that the schooner was actually the family's home, a home out to sea which was currently stranded in a shipyard for repairs, so I was putting my time and energy and effort in helping them put their home out to sea again so that they could explore the world, and that was absolutely beautiful. There's actually an entire project behind that called the Global Seas Ocean Science, and they've actually set up a YouTube channel about it explaining everything they're going to do with this beautiful old schooner. You can check out the link to their channel in the description below. And who knows, maybe you will end up being part of this wonderful team either now during the restoration phase or later on when she will actually set sail and will be out and about exploring our oceans. The true wealth of traveling is not the pictures you're gonna take or the souvenirs you're gonna buy or the food you're gonna eat. It's actually the people you're gonna meet along the way, the characters of which are gonna rub off on you in more ways than you can actually expect or describe. And in the case of Stephen and his wonderful family, I will be forever grateful and very proud for being part of their amazing project. Having completed my first week of work at the shipyard in Monastir, I was free to roam and explore and wander about the country, so south I went. Since there were so many places to drive to, there was so much to do, so much to see, I was gonna break it down to small, manageable trips. So the first weekend, I made my way south all the way to the city of Tozeur, which was gonna be my base for the next 2, maybe 3 days. And the first drive I took out of there was at the site of Mos Espa. I'm pretty sure that all you Star Wars enthusiasts out there will recognize this site as the site of Mos Espa from the 1977 epic Star Wars movie. An inalienable truth about Tunisia is that its landscape is so out of this world that it's literally almost extraterrestrial. So much so that the directors of the film decided to use pretty much the entire country as a set for the Star Wars movie. Pretty much everywhere you go in the south of the country, there will be a Star Wars filming site for you to check out and explore, and they are all mind blowing to say the least. Though it looks cool, driving in the desert should not be taken lightly. It's so easy to get lost, like so easy that had I not had a guide with me occupying the passenger seat, I would have never made it back in one piece. I can guarantee you that. So, with this epic adventure almost over, it was time for a cup of coffee, a bit of a rest, a wee bite, and the usual souvenir pictures that pretty much everybody wanted to take in Bob, no matter where I went. Unfortunately, all good things eventually do come to an end, and that was exactly the story with my first weekend in the city of Tozeur and its whereabouts. I had plenty of fun and adventure exploring Mos Espa, Lars Homestead. I got the opportunity to drive all the way up north to Midas Canyon, a pretty cool site where it's a Grand Canyon but in smaller scale. I got a chance to walk that. I got a chance to visit the Chapika Oasis, which is a pretty cool site in the middle of the desert. And in general, it's been a very full weekend. But now it was time for me to make my way back to monastery because I had plenty of work waiting for me back at the shipyard. As part of my preparations for Tunisia, I had downloaded an app called Maps.me, which I'm pretty sure most of you are aware of, and I downloaded offline maps for the entire country. On my way back, instead of using Google Maps trying to save up on my data, I figured I was going to use Maps.me to take me back to my destination. And one of the things I always consistently do is I avoid highways, I stick to back roads provided they are paved roads. And Maps.me does have an option for that. You can choose a gravel road, you can choose a highway, you can choose a paved road. I chose a paved road. A paved road is not what I got in return.
Maps.me really got everything so wrong. This is supposed to be a paved way.
Conditions started deteriorating more and more and more until eventually I was completely lost in a maze of small dirt roads shoved in between fields with no real idea where exactly I was.
I'm completely lost. I have no idea where it's taking me. The main road is somewhere to my left, a few kilometers up. Why has it taken it here? I don't know. This is unbelievable.
Being completely pissed at the app, it was the moment that I had to turn completely manual because both Google Maps and Maps.me would give me the exact same route, thinking that that was a normal paved road, which was not. The situation could have been quite dangerous because I was already in late afternoon and I was running out of daylight, and I still had 3.5 full hours of driving ahead of me, and the last thing I wanted to do in Tunisia was drive in the middle of the night. So I ignored Maps.me and Google Maps, switched them off, and followed my senses to make my way out of that labyrinth.
I'm never getting out of here.
Eventually, I made my way back to the nearest town, and I got stuck in a traffic jam because of a wedding. The usual little town traffic jam ensued, and with a little bit of patience and a little bit of luck, after maybe 10 minutes of driving around, I made my way to the main road that was going to take me all the way to Kairouan and from there to Monastery. And just as I was about to let out a huge sigh of relief, the weather turned on me. So, not only was I now running the risk of driving in the middle of the night, I was running the risk of driving in the middle of the night during rainfall, both of which I was adamant about not doing. Having survived the night and the rain, I was safely tucked away at my host's house back in Monastery. With ample time and space at my disposal, I had to figure out what the problem with my gas tank was, because for sure I had overpressure issues. The pressure buildup that I've been experiencing over the last 3 days must have something to do with my vent pipe on the gas tank, and hopefully not the gas tank itself. In case number one, it would have been an easy fix. In case number two, it would have been more than just a slight pain in the butt. So, crossed my fingers and started exploring. Having disconnected the vent pipe from the tank and using another clean pipe to blow air through the tank, I made sure that there was absolutely nothing wrong with my fuel tank. So, the issue was with the fuel tank vent pipe, for sure. And sure enough, the moment I removed the vent pipe from its spot, I didn't even have to blow through it to realize what was wrong with it. It was closed shut completely from its lower end, right next to the exhaust pipe. It was actually melted shut. It somehow moved far enough to touch the exhaust pipe and melt itself shut. That somehow theory must have been me reversing over a bush or tall grass or what have you along the route, and something must have clipped the vent pipe, moved it over to the side, displaced it from its holder, pushed it against the exhaust, and it just melted itself shut. So I made sure I reinstalled everything, clipped off the tip of the blocked vent pipe, put it back into its place, and Bob was my uncle. No more pressure in my gas tank. Since I was already at it, I figured it was a great opportunity for me to do an overall inspection of Bob. Check my torque settings, grease him up, inspect the car, oil level, spark plugs, carburetor, everything, because I had one more full weekend of desert adventure ahead of me, and my travel buddy had to be in top-notch condition to deal with all that. But all that is for another episode. Till then, take care of your fantastic selves, motor on, and I'll be seeing you soon enough.